And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, everybody. Tomorrow, we kick off 2025. Today, we are here breaking down a 4-game slate. We've got 2 games today at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Time. You get Bucks, Pacers, and Raptors, Celtics at 3. And then we got a 4-game main slate tonight. Clippers and Spurs at 7. Wolves and Thunder at 8 o'clock. And then 2 9 o'clocks, Cavs and Lakers, Grizzlies and Suns. So it's actually a really good main slate. I mean, like Clippers, Spurs is at least like not bad teams. Wemby as well. Minnesota and OKC is awesome. Cleveland and the Lakers is at least fun. And then Memphis, Phoenix, assuming Booker's back, could have been fun if Memphis had some more guys healthy, but they don't. It's still kind of fun enough. I don't know. 4-game slate, though. What else do we want? I'm happy with it. Hit that like button if you're here. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter. At Josh Engleman. Yeah, do we want to get that out of the way right now? Oh, man, it's so funny. Look, no one's surprised, right? We all knew. We all knew what was coming. We all knew that was going to happen. It's hysterical. Oh, it's hysterical. We all knew we were getting that bad boy. Spoke that one into existence like that. Shout out to the Jazz for being truly terrible. That's helpful. That's helpful. Yeah, that was set in stone at 9 o'clock yesterday morning. Everybody here knew it. Everybody here knew it. Now, to be fair, let's remember here, I did really like him in DFS. The rant was not DFS based, so let's at least get that on the record. Oh man, he's negative 8.5 now. S&P negative 8.5. Climbing. He's climbing. Look at that. Negative 8.5. Yeah, he got to the rim at will. And I was just like, I wonder how bad Utah is at defending the rim. I looked at this morning. So, in terms of shot frequency, Utah limits people from getting to the rim. Not that they're not getting to the rim like crazy. In terms of shot accuracy, no one but the Wizards get scored on more at the rim, which is kind of wild given that like that's not what you expect out of Walker Kessler. So while you don't get to the rim all that frequently, you do score frequently. And Russ didn't miss every single time he tried to do it. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. Oh man. Yeah, the comment section of the video yesterday were not kind. Oh man. I enjoy it. It was a good time. The rant was necessary. But I hope you guys played him yesterday. He was a decent play. And it certainly worked out. It didn't work out as well as getting 92 or whatever out of Jokic, but 56 out of Russ is pretty damn good. Alrighty, we want to break down these 4 games. We don't have a ton to talk about, but we got a lot to break down. So let's get into it. Crispy, what's up? The LA Clippers are 3.5-point underdogs in San Antonio, 216.5 total. Now, this one is a little up in the air. Technically, we don't know who's available for the Clippers today. They're on the back-to-back. So I'm kind of just assuming it's the same team we got yesterday, but it doesn't have to be. So be aware that what we're talking about here for the Clippers could look a little bit different. And if I'm being honest, I have the Clippers closer via the line. I actually have the Clippers favored by a point, whereas they're 3.5-point dogs. Maybe we're going to be seeing someone out for the Clippers today. Something to keep in mind. Yeah, this line's at 4 now. I would not be surprised at all if we see a Harden Q tag, a Zubats Q tag, a Norm Powell Q tag when we get this injury report at 1 o'clock. So keep your eyes peeled. Yeah, no, I don't think so, Steven. I don't think so. Okay, so from an ownership perspective on the Clippers, if we do have everybody in, they are the second most owned team on the slate behind the Memphis Grizzlies, who are missing a bunch of people. Grizzlies are twice as owned as the Clippers. The Clippers are in at 129% total. The most of which is going to James Harden. It's around 30. He's 9,300. We've got Powell and Zoo, both in that 20 to 25 range. Chris Dunn just shy of 20. And then Derek Jones Jr., KPJ, and Amir Coffey are all around 10. Now, as I look at it, I think there's a couple things that immediately stand out to me. The first of which would be under-owned guys, and that would be KPJ and Derek Jones Jr. I think both of those guys should be a little bit more owned than the 10% they're showing. I have them both right at 20% optimal, same as Zubats, same as Dunn. The boom score for Derek Jones Jr. is a little lower, but that's not all that surprising. Not the best per minute guy in the world. KPJ looks a lot better. So I'm at least a little intrigued there for getting to someone like KPJ, especially on a 4-gamer. You know, bench guys are going to be okay on a day like today. Now, he only played 16 minutes last time out. I do have him in for 24, which might be a tad high, but they're still short on bodies. But I might have him a little over projected in minutes, something I'll look at a little bit later. The easiest guy to get to here today for the Clippers seems to me to be Chris Dunn. Now, he's 4,200. He's point guard, shooting guard eligible. He's a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy. He's 18% owned, and I have him at 19% optimal. The minutes have been up lately as well. 26 minutes a game over his last 10, 30 over the last 5, 31 over the last 3. So at the very least, these minutes for Chris Dunn seem to be creeping up. And if that's the case at 4,200, I think he's the easiest name to click. Harden obviously looks good. Norm Powell obviously looks good, although to me, Norm Powell is a bit overowned. And then Zubats on a 4-gamer at 7,700, always going to be interesting to me. Really fascinated by this matchup of Zoo versus Wemby, because Zubats is like a real, like, stump of a man. Like, we're talking about a 7'1" actual big dude. So I'm interested to see how he can move his weight around against Wemby. S&P, yeah, you're probably right there. You're probably right there. But S&P, here's the tricky question then. What about when Terrence Mann gets back? How good has Chris Dunn been, like, for real? Because I could see it being done. I mean, the defense has been amazing. The offense has been not amazing. Dude, the defense on Chris Dunn so far this year, is he the number 1 defensive player that isn't Wemby? Nope, he's just the number 1 defensive player in plus minus. Chris Dunn has the highest defensive EPM on dunks and threes this year. Whew. Well, thanks for that note, Nick. Yeah, it's weird. I would acknowledge more quality messages in chat if anybody chose to drop them in there, but when they're few and far between, I like to acknowledge them. It's helpful that way. Not to mention we're expounding on something that we talked about yesterday, but you know, not a low bar. It's you guys. I'll talk about any message I see. What do you guys like here for the Clippers today? Ooh, I don't think they'd cut Batum from the roster or from the rotation, obviously. John, I haven't watched anything since episode 3. I have to catch up. I'm a little behind. Optimal and boom wise, I've got these 5 guys basically in the same group relative to salary. Harden, Zoo, Dunn, Derek Jones Jr., KPJ. KPJ is going to go a little bit lower when I walk those minutes back. Chris, the pup's great. The pup's great. Really good night last night. I was a little surprised that I didn't get like a little bit more of Mo Bamba on a 4-gamer just because he's the flat 3K, but we'll see what the rest of this slate looks like. By the way, the first 3 games all essentially have the same pace. Memphis and Phoenix is the game that projects to be slightly faster. Mins? You mean like minutes for Bamba? Agreed. I think we want to pay attention to this ownership or the injury report, though. I got a sneaky suspicion we're going to get a piece of news for the Clippers that doesn't look all that good. So we'll see. Let's look at San Antonio. Now, San Antonio is at full strength. Everybody that's normally available is. But we're not getting any ownership here, which isn't surprising. So, pace down spot for the Spurs. They lose a possession below their average. And, Clippers defense is good. Not a fun team to break down. 11-6 Wemby is only 7% owned. Now, I think that he is under-owned. I had him 15% optimal, 40% chance of getting to 60 fantasy points. But Wemby's under-owned. But this is a big slate for a 4-gamer. Harden, Ant, Shea, the Cleveland dudes, AD, LeBron, Bane, Triple J, Durant, Beal. I don't know why I said Beal. Booker, potentially. So I'm not surprised that we don't immediately get to Wemby. There's a lot of options competing with him. But he's under-owned at 7% for a 4-gamer. I think we could all pretty well agree on that one. Or at least I assume you guys aren't going to push back on it. Jeremy Sohan, 10% owned. I think he's under-owned. Vassell at 15 looks right. Chris Paul, 12% owned. I have him 21% optimal. I think Chris Paul's the number 1 play on the Spurs today. Why is he 12% owned? Why is Keldon Johnson 19% owned? Now, I don't think that's sticking around. I think that ownership will come down. But he is 3,500 and small forward, power forward eligible. So it really doesn't take much out of Keldon Johnson to be a good value. Just not the most exciting thing in the world. But I think this Spurs team is underrepresented. You can see it right here. I have 98% optimal assigned to these guys, 68% ownership. I'm a little surprised they're not getting more love. And that's not even to say that, like, you could take a shot on the Barnacle of the Bay. I don't really want any, like, Champagne or Jones or Castle. Speaking of, the people that are all mad that Castle's not playing more that's a weird one. It's like he wasn't good. Get the rookie, 20 minutes a night, and I think that's fine. But he should not be starting right now. But yeah, I think San Antonio is pretty underrepresented for what this slate is. If I'm ranking the Spurs, it's Paul, it's Sohan, it's Wemby, it's Vassell, it's the Barnacle of the Bay, it's Keldon Johnson. But yeah, like sub 10% Wemby, if we really get that, it does suck to like lock this in at 7:00. But I mean, come on. That's a pretty big ceiling. Why is Chris Paul 12% owned? We're talking about a fantasy point per minute guy playing, upwards of 34 a night. Like I gave him 31. He's played 35, 32, 36, and 35 in his last 4. So think about that. I gave Chris Paul 31 minutes. I think his optimal rate is close to double his ownership. And I am a minute short of his low mark over the last 4 days and 4 minutes short of the next closest minutes projection. And by all accounts, this game should be, 1, relatively competitive. 2, it's the Clippers, so like maybe Chris Paul cares about that a hair more than normal. But I really like Chris Paul here against the Clips. But I want a lot of San Antonio, one of the more under-owned teams of the day. All right, I'm going to hit you guys with the schedule, I hope, for the rest of the day. Let's see if that has actually been posted. It has! Hey, shout out to Greg. Oh my God, he posted it the moment I opened my phone. That's clutch. NFL Strategy Show with Laffy and Ben coming up next at 10 a.m. This is the final regular season version of this show, the Tuesday Strategy Show. NHL Strategy Show will be at 2 o'clock. I will be on the deeper dive from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock with DK. And then Greg and Eric will be on live before lock tonight. We're not doing playback tonight because it's New Year's Eve and, it's New Year's Eve. But we'll be back for playback coming up tomorrow. And we'll be here basically moving forward now every day with playback, so long as there's not any sort of primetime NFL games. I think that first playoff weekend has a Monday night game, so we probably wouldn't do it then. But yeah, no playback tonight because of New Year's Eve. But otherwise, get ready for it. I know this is going to it's probably going to be pretty bothersome to Nick, but S&P, I'm with you there. I don't think we'll see it that way. It'll be like 15-4 or something, and then those optics just don't look the same. Barnes's minutes were so shitty there for a couple games in a row, and then he just fell back into 34 last time out. All right, Minnesota Timberwolves. 7.5 point dogs in OKC, 216 total. Slowest pace, lowest total. Not a ton of ownership coming into Minnesota. Now, we know what they do basically every day, and all the ownership is kind of in the same range. Call it 10, 10, 10, 15, 20, 10, 10. DiVincenzo, the most owned, 4,600. Point guard, shooting guard eligible. He's 19% owned. But look at my optimal rates if we want to really talk about it. Ant, 13 optimal, 9 ownership. Gobert, 14 optimal, 7 ownership. Randall, 13 optimal, 12 ownership. McDaniels, 18 and 17. DiVincenzo, 15 and 19. Conley, 12 and 8. Reed, 10 and 11. All of these guys should be in the 12 to 16% owned range. And for the most part, they all are. You just see little tweaks here or there for better positioning or slightly better price tags or MPEs. But really what we're doing is looking at the 7 main guys, because Nickeil Alexander-Walker just doesn't appear to be that guy any longer. And they are playing Josh Minot a little bit now. But those 7 main guys, Edwards, Gobert, Randall, McDaniels, DiVincenzo, Conley, Reed. I don't care which one you get. They all look the same. They all fit into a lineup. You probably want one Minnesota guy in everything. The matchup isn't very good against OKC, but I'd be willing to take just about anything here. I think the guy that I would get the most on a day like today really would be Jaden McDaniels. It's small forward, which is going to be the hardest position to fill on a day like today. He's 4,100. He should get decent minutes. You just kind of need to fill that position in certain ways. I'm guessing small forward is like a really ridiculous position for today. Let me see if I could filter this down. So if we look at just people eligible at small forward, I want to see how preposterous that position really is today. It's got to be thin. Yeah, that is not the most loaded small forward position. You got Beal potentially with Booker back. Bane now without Ja, which will be interesting. Norm Powell's at 7,400. Then it's Vassell, Rui, Dalton Connect, Lou Dort, Jalen Wells, John Conchar. Like, it's not that fun of a position. And McDaniels is just going to be sitting there looking similar to everybody else. Rui underowned for me. Yeah, like I just can't look at Minnesota and immediately think I want to get more of that guy. I just kind of want to get some of all of them. Especially against this OKC defense. Like that's not an easy job today. But yeah, McDaniels stands out to me just because of position and price. DiVincenzo's flexibility helps. But like Ant looks fine. You know, Gobert maybe a hair underowned, not exactly a great matchup. But it's Jaden McDaniels, I think. Now, OKC, they have to run into a good Minnesota defense, a pace down spot where they lose 1.8 possessions below their average. They're at full strength outside of no Caruso. You know, and they're already getting people back. Jalen Williams and Ousmane Dieng. No one on the DraftKings side got to double digits in ownership. Lou Dort, the high mark at 9. Now, I think Shea is underowned in the same way that we talked about Wemby. I think Jalen Williams at 6% is underowned at 8,900. You know, I'm happy to get to Dort. I'm happy to get to like Case and Wallace around 10% of the time. I don't think Hartenstein looks all that good here. You want to roll the dice on your AJ Mitchells and your Aaron Wiggins and your Isaiah Joe, hoping they're the dude that gets the extra minutes today. I get it on a 4-gamer. But what I'm seeing today so far is that I want to try to pay up for Wemby and I want to try to pay up for Shea. I think both of these guys are underowned for right now. That might make your lineup construction a little ugly. Chip isn't really showing us anything that like jumps out, but I think they're more interesting than the ownership is telling us. Like pay up wise, AD is 23% owned, but Wemby is 6 and Shea is 5. LeBron is 32. Durant is 30. Harden is 30. Yeah. Give me these two dudes more. For sure. But I want more Shea and I want more Jalen in this spot. I don't know why they're not getting the love. And if we're being honest, Lou Dort, shooting guard, small forward, 4,400, is my second favorite play from OKC. I actually have him ahead of Jalen Williams. So it's a fun game too. Obviously a defensive game, but I'm happy to get that OKC value at the top. All right, Cleveland Cavaliers. They're on a back-to-back. They're 4-point favorites in LA, taking on the Lakers, 228 total. Now, we don't know the status of the Cavs. Oh, my mic's cutting out? Keep me posted on that. Keep me posted. I assume it just started happening. So, keep me posted. I'm assuming the Cavs are going to be without Max Strus today. Seems like a situation where they would sit him on the back-to-back. We don't know that for sure, but I left him out. And we're getting exactly what we always get here for the Cavs. 15 to 20% ownership on Mitchell, around 10 for Garland, around 20 for Evan Mobley. Those three guys should all be in that 15 to 20 range. You can get a little bit of Jared Allen, who should be around 10. And maybe you get a couple shares of Karis LeVert. Cleveland is the same team every single day, basically. And I don't think that today is any different. If I'm going to anybody, I'm trying to get Mitchell, Garland, and Mobley. I do think Garland is the most under-owned guy out of this group. But any one of those three guys are basically the same to me. They're all around like 33% boom, which leads me to believe that one of these three guys is in a winning lineup tonight. But there are no priorities from Cleveland. You just get those three good dudes, you sprinkle in Allen, Wade, and LeVert from time to time, and you just go about your business. That's the way that I see this for Cleveland. I don't have a lot to say about them. They're the easiest. Honestly, I think they're the easiest team to talk about in the league now with regards to like evaluating them on a day-to-day basis. It's not all that hard. So, do you guys have any interesting Cleveland Cavaliers thoughts that I seem to be missing? My guess is no. Yeah, Brandon, I do. Just I don't see what the point would be. I mean, he missed so much time. Let him sit out the back-to-back. What, like, they've got enough of a wins cushion at this point. And then they don't play again until Friday, so from Golden State, travel on a back-to-back to LA. Just put them on ice till Friday. Nobody else is really out either. Like, there's no reason you can't just give Jalen Tyson a couple extra minutes. Noel Buchanan says Wade. I mean, he's fine. He's not very good on a per minute basis. But, you know, he can be in a lineup at least. I'm a huge Dean Wade fan in terms of like real life. That dude is good for what you want him to be. I'm way too big of a fan of guys that fit with everybody. Like the low usage, good defense, can shoot threes and play multiple positions guys. I've been on their island long before the public. How many minutes do I have Wade at? So I have him in for 24 right now, but they have been creeping up a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see them go a little bit further there. Played 25 last night, 26 the game before that, 25 on the 21st. Yeah, S&P, I still think they need to redistribute their talent. Like, if they could sort of import like 2027 Evan Mobley who's taken like 5 of those. That would be interesting. I think they're just going to end up too early. And honestly, the real problem, look, Cleveland's awesome. They're really good. If things break right and injuries break right, they're going to be good in the playoffs too. But when push comes to shove, like they're just worse at just about every position than the Celtics are. Like if the Celtics are at full strength, do they win what? One matchup, Mitchell versus Drew Holiday? Like, you know, you're taking Brown and Tatum long before you're taking Dean Wade and Mobley. And, you know, obviously Porzingis miles ahead of Jared Allen, especially in the playoff series. But yeah, big Dean Wade guy here. I mean, he's not a good value Cleveland picker. That I can very much tell you. He's honestly a pretty poor value if we're describing Dean Wade for today, but it's a 4-game slate, so it's a little bit easier to tolerate. Only way you're going to the ship is if something happens to Boston's health. You aren't beating Boston in a full strength series. Tatum now has a history of shooting really bad in some big playoff matchups, certainly in each finals. I mean, yes, that has happened. I couldn't care less, which should be the way that everybody looks at it. Boston has nothing on you guys other than being the favorites, being the defending champs, and being a better team. I mean, right now, Boston's minus 105 to win the East, and the Cavs aren't even second. So let's pump the brakes here, folks. Let's pump the brakes. I'd love to see the Cavs make a trade. I don't know if they're willing to pull the trigger on getting rid of Jared Allen. Because that's the deal they need to make. But yeah, John, I don't care in the slightest what Jason Tatum has shot in the finals in any way. No, completely meaningless to me. Let's see. Just out of curiosity. This season, Jason Tatum takes 20 shots per game. Almost on the dot. In his career, he's taken 218 shots in the playoff or in the finals. The equivalent of what? 10 games? Yeah, and he's played 11. I don't care what happens in 11 games. Allen is our best defensive player. Cleveland picker. You seem to be a Cleveland fan. You are very wrong about that statement. Very wrong. Evan Mobley is your best defensive player. It's not even a conversation. It's not even a conversation. Let's talk Lakers. Now, the Lakers are a little tricky today because we've got a Q tag on LeBron James. We've got a Q tag on Anthony Davis. We've got a Q tag on Gabe Vincent. And now we've got no D'Angelo Russell, and we have Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. So I don't have a damn clue what the Lakers are doing today. But 10% ownership to Austin Reeves is interesting. 30 coming into LeBron, but I'm not surprised. He looks good. 20 coming into AD, not surprised. Looks good. 10 to Rui. I would argue is a little low, but we don't know what's going to happen to his minutes now with Dorian Finney-Smith here. And then Max Christie at 4. I'm also a little intrigued by him, shooting guard, small forward, 4K. Cleveland Picker, I don't think you're trolling me at all. I think you're being serious, and I legitimately don't understand how that's a thing. I really don't. Like, Evan Mobley was 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year 2 years ago. Jarrett Allen doesn't even get to participate in those conversations. That's a weird one. Of all the stands, you can tell me they're going to beat the Celtics. I'll let your homerism go, but you're picking the wrong guy. And that's like a consensus thought. That's not even just me. That's not even me doing like weird. That's not like advanced statsing it either. That's just everybody's thought. So I don't know what we're doing here with the Lakers today. Betting markets are going to help. How much does Shake Milton play? Does Shake Milton pass Gabe Vincent? Does Shake Milton start? Because I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility right now. I want to be very clear here. Shake Milton is probably a better basketball player than Gabe Vincent. And Shake Milton could be a better basketball player than Max Christie. Cleveland, why do you want to lose the title? Why do you want to make the team worse? Why do you want to make the team worse? Oh, Cleveland Picker, they better not make you the GM, brother. Don't do that. You're going to cost your team everything. You're going to cost your team everything. If you trade LeVert and Max Strus and picks for Brandon Ingram, you are making a gigantic mistake. At least pick one of the good dudes from the Pels. Yeah, Jeremy, I don't think that they do, but I don't know. Like, I have no idea who JJ likes. You know what I mean? I don't think they do, but like if Gabe Vincent happens to be out, I assume we just get their normal lineup. Reeves, James, AD, Rui, Christie. That's what I'm expecting today. But I don't know what that distribution is going to look like behind that. I think you just want to play a lot of LeBron and AD today. I think they both look really good. I'm intrigued by Rui, but those minutes can go away a little bit now. Like, we got to remember, Rui Hachimura is not as good of a basketball player as Dorian Finney-Smith. They should probably get Dorian Finney-Smith in that starting lineup over Rui at some point in time. Austin Reeves is just playing 36 minutes a night. He's probably a little underrepresented here. It's just hard to want to click Max Christie's name, especially now that they just made a 2-for-1, because he's so bad per minute. 0.66 fantasy points per minute is where I have Max Christie. That's not a good per minute rate. But I would argue that he's probably a little under-owned. But he's got some minutes downside now. Is Max going to pull back or increase production? I don't know why you would increase it. I got nothing else here for the Lakers. Look, we obviously need their injury status. I assume the two main guys play, but who knows? Who knows? Final game. Memphis Grizzlies, 5.5-point dogs in Phoenix, 236 total. Before we go any further, you guys see it on the screen right now. This is good for today and tomorrow. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. The Portfolio EV tool is $25. using the promo code EV25. If you want to come in to OddsShopper, use the Portfolio EV tool for sportsbooks and pick'em sites, you get it for 75% off for the next 2 days. We want to bring you into the new year and let you guys dive in to the best way to place bets that exists. Greg is absolutely smashing a bankroll challenge starting with $100. You can start with that same amount too. And if you did, you would have turned $100 into like $700 in the first 2 months of the season. It's been that great. So if you want to know more about it, head to oddshopper.com or click the link in the description. Use the promo code EV25 and you can get OddsShopper's Portfolio EV for $25 for your first month. Everyone new to roster Russell Westbrook last night except Josh. That's not exactly what came out of my mouth yesterday. Oh, dropping dimes. It was definitely the best game he's had. So, Memphis. 5.5 point dogs in Phoenix, 236 total. This is the number one spot on the slate. So, the Grizzlies. No Santi Aldama, ankle sprain. No Brandon Clark, soleus strain. Edie's in the concussion protocol. Yuki Kawamura is actually questionable, and we need that news. Laravia out with an ankle sprain. Ja out with the AC joint sprain. Marcus Smart still out. Vince Williams still out. 50% ownership coming into Jalen Wells. 20 to Triple J. 20 to Desmond Bane. 50 to Scottie Pippen Jr., 30 to Conchar, 25 to Kennard, 15 to Jay Huff. Even Cam Spencer's getting some love. Ooh, baby. Wow. So, the guy that I like the most here is Scottie Pippen Jr. He's 5,800. He's point guard only. There's no Ja Morant. He's going to run the show here. I'm not surprised to see him be 50% owned. I got him to 50% boom. 27% optimal is the highest number. The guy that I want the most here is definitely going to be Scottie Pippen Jr. I would say Jalen Wells is probably second. That's why you're seeing 50% ownership. 23% optimal, 38% boom. I think I probably prefer Triple J to Desmond Bane, but it's close. It's close. I think Kennard for 3,800 shooting guard small forward is probably like one of the easier value plays to get to. And someone like Luke Kennard, or even to a degree John Conchar, those are the guys that are going to help me get to more of SGA or Wemby, which doesn't seem to be happening enough. But ultimately, you just have to have a ton of Memphis. They're missing way too many guys. Way too many guys. You want all things Memphis today. Oh yeah, Kenny Atkinson's an amazing coach. He did a great job in Brooklyn. Until they wanted them to play DeAndre Jordan over Jared Allen. Womp womp. What do you guys like most from Memphis here? Knowing that there's no Aldama, Clark, Edie, Laravia, Morant, Smart, Williams. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're missing 7 guys out of a legitimate rotation, and they've got 7 more. Man, Memphis is damn good with depth. Whew. Yeah, Jeremy, I think you're right there. It's just sort of everything. It really is. Yeah, Huff is just a wild card. There's definitely a lot of upside there, but if they're going to play Colin Castleton as well, that gets sneaky. And then if they just want to play Triple J at the 5, they can do that too. The minutes for J Huff can be all over the place. Like I went 18. I think he looks solid. I agree that he should be getting ownership, but you know, he's liable to play as low as 10, as many as 24. Like, none of those outcomes would really shock me. Very good GPP play today. But ultimately, we just want all of Memphis. I don't know what else we could really do here. Can Memphis trade for Butler or Levine? I hope not. They could trade for whoever they want. If Memphis wants to have somebody on their team, they could do that. They would never trade for Jimmy Butler. They would never trade for Zach LaVine. Ever. 0% chance for either one of those two names. But they have the assets to do it if they wanted to. But they would never, ever, 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 ever trade for Jimmy Butler or Zach LaVine. No chance. They don't have the salary structure to support either one of those moves. For them to trade for Jimmy Butler or LaVine, one of Morant, Bane, or Triple J is heading out the other side of that door. And that's not a great idea. I wish Denver would hurry up and trade for LaVine. Yeah, I don't. I don't like that at all. Assuming it costs what I think it'd cost. I don't like it. Cam Johnson to Memphis would be fun. I feel like they have too many Cam Johnsons, but I'm with you. Josh, you said you hope my Cavs make a trade. Please humor me with your trade options. Okay. I can do that. So the question becomes, what do you believe in moving forward? Doesn't seem like you're going to be getting rid of Mitchell. Doesn't really seem like you're going to be getting rid of Mobley. I think that Jared Allen is the natural guy that needs to go to try to bring in a 3-4 that fits a little bit better. Now, the problem there is who needs a center? And what can the Cavs attach to themselves? You could tell me you want it to be Garland. I could understand it. But what we need to do is get rid of Jared Allen. So, assuming that's what we want to do, to me, the only options are Allen or Garland. Let's just put that there. I guess in theory, you can try and consolidate like LeVert plus Strus, but I think that probably, or like LeVert, Okoro, and something. But the problem is Cleveland doesn't have enough picks. They basically don't have any. All they're sitting on are a wealth of seconds. Most of their picks are out the door. So that makes things a little tricky because the Cavs are not really in any position to outbid anybody because they don't have any draft assets. So let's just do this. If you're the Cavs and you want to trade Jared Allen, he's clearly not going to Boston, New York, Orlando, Atlanta. He's probably not going to Milwaukee. Not going to Miami. He's not going to Indiana. In theory, he could go to Chicago, but that seems like a weird fit. I don't know why the Bulls would be doing that since they still have Vooch under contract. He's not going to Detroit, I would imagine. Although, there's probably a path where you trade Jared Allen to Detroit and can make the team better, but that's not happening. Clearly no to the Sixers. The Nets wouldn't make a ton of sense. Hornets don't make any sense. Raptors don't make any sense. In theory, he could go to the Wizards. I don't know why the Wizards would be doing that. Although I guess Jared Allen is 26. But you're probably not playing him alongside Sarr. He's not going to the Thunder or the Grizzlies or the Rockets or the Mavs or the Lakers or the Clippers or the Nuggets or the Wolves. I don't think Golden State would be dipping their toe into the Jared Allen water, but that could be interesting. No for the Spurs, no for the Suns, no for the Kings, no for the Blazers, no for the Jazz. There's just nowhere to send him. There's nowhere to send him. That's the problem right now. They're kind of stuck in Jared Allen's contract. And I don't know what you would do to get off of that. Yves Missi being like not awful for the Pelicans really kind of screwed things up here for the Cavs. Because I don't know where else we could send Jared Allen. And if that's the case, I don't know how else to upgrade this team. You cannot play Domantas Sabonis at the 4. I don't know if you're trolling me with that one, but that breaks my heart to see. That is as big of an impossibility as I could probably imagine. No person is less qualified to play the 4. He's already not qualified to play the 5. Who's he going to guard? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you could actually do now because the Cavs just don't have the assets any longer. Like, is there something here? Maybe. But it's kind of bleak. I don't know. They're just in trouble. I'd like to see the Grizzlies trade for Trey Murphy or Herb Jones. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'd like it too. It's going to cost a lot. And they got a lot of dudes that like they feel could turn into that. The Grizzlies are in a really tough spot because it's hard for them to consolidate talent. All right, let's finish off Phoenix quick. Got caught up in conversation there. So Devin Booker is questionable for this one. That obviously makes a huge swing in what we like here for Phoenix. But we are getting 30% ownership to Durant, around 30 for Tyus Jones, and around 40 for Mason Plumlee. Reminder, Yusuf Nurkic still suspended for this one. Yeah, John, that doesn't help either. Beal not getting all that much love at 7,800, but if Booker's back, that's complicating. Look, if Devin Booker plays today at 9,200, he's probably underowned. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but the guy that I would like to roll the dice on here is Devin Booker if he plays. So, like, the best play for Phoenix is Kevin Durant, no matter the Booker status. I think the second best option is Tyus Jones, because he's just set in stone. Then I would want to go to Plumlee for the value. Then it's Booker, then it's Beal. If Booker's in, there's no way to go to anybody off the bench, I don't think. You don't really, like, in theory, you can get to Iguodala if you play a lot of lineups or Grayson Allen, but you're not going to have any volume here. Now, if Booker's out, Beal's going to look a lot better. Durant's going to look a bit better. Grayson Allen and Ryan Dunn probably look a little bit better here. But we've got a lot of swing news. These 9 o'clock games are interesting. Between the Q tags for the Lakers and the new trade guys, Memphis missing half their team, Phoenix with the Q tag on Devin Booker. There's a lot going on in those 9 o'clock games that we're going to have to hash out. So make sure you're watching the deeper dive later today, 5 p.m., where we'll probably have a little bit more news here. But for now, NFL Strategy Show, guys, is coming up next. You get those guys in 5 minutes. Enjoy it. Enjoy your New Year's Eve. Be safe tonight. No drinking and driving. Get yourself an Uber or walk if you need to. I'll be at my house, so it won't matter. And then we're back tomorrow. 2025 edition of the NBA Strategy Show. So good luck, everybody. Have some fun tonight. I'll see you guys in the morning.